Mike Bohn here with former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, who I believe is still in his post UFC 254 quarantine. Is that right, Rob?
That's correct, mate. It's correct. I got another week here.
Yeah, how's it been going so far?
It's all right. A lot of video games, guitar, and Uber Eats, but I'm sick of it now. Like I want to go home.
Yeah, I imagine ready to get out of there. What have you been playing the most?
I've been mucking around with Don't Starve a fair bit, as well as Fallout 4. But I'm running out of ideas, mate.
Yeah, for sure. Are you like a computer guy or are you a console guy for your gaming?
Yeah, I'm a PC fella.
Gotcha. And
Got my
just
Omen laptop here. It's a beast of a rig. It's pretty good.
that's great. And during your time there, have you had much opportunity to rewatch the fight with Cannonier, or is that really not being able to do that yet?
I had a quick peek through but not an in-depth one yet. I'm gonna wait till I get home for that.
Okay, will you watch it like by yourself, or is that something you just do with your coaches for like the first?
It depends. If I watch it, because I don't always watch them, but if I watch it, I'll be with my old man. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess just from what you remember, like how do you feel about your performance after a week and a half or so, just to think and reflect? Are you pretty happy with what you did out there?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Me and my team diligently worked a game plan in the months and weeks leading up to the fight, and I executed that game plan. And I had the discipline to stick to it, and I was got to be happy with the results. It was picture perfect almost.
Yeah, if you could like be critical of yourself, what when you say picture perfect, what's like the thing that brought it, just shy of maybe being like 100% happy with it?
I probably could have checked a couple more kicks. That's about it, maybe. And yeah, I could have checked a couple more kicks. Maybe made some different decisions when we went to the ground, or why I went to the ground, and different things like that.
Yeah, and that head kick you caught him with, I mean, were you surprised you didn't get the finish there? Because you seemed pretty hurt, and I know you just set that up so beautifully.
Yeah, it was a good kick. It was a good setup. I'm surprised he was a tough guy. He's so resilient, and I knew that going into the fight. So I'm not too surprised he didn't get out of there. And I was thinking that, as I was like on top of him after the kick, I was thinking that like this guy's not going to go away. I needed to pace myself and just work the game a bit.
Yeah, with everything you've been through, like earlier in the year and late last year after the Izzy fight and everything, like these two wins that you've had over Darren and Jared, what do they really say about your ability to just overcome those problems that you're going through and just really beat two of the top guys out there? Are you like more satisfied with these two wins you've had since everything you went through than maybe the championship victories or anything you had before that?
Yeah, certainly. Like I think this is just a new chapter for me, and for me to walk away with two wins um, against Darren and Jared. It's very very significant for me because this is a new chapter, and with the new chapter comes new ideas, new things, new ways of doing things, and to have success in to have success now whilst I'm running these new ideas and new plans and new strategies. It just reassures everything that I'm doing is correct. It just everything I'm doing is right.
Definitely. So on the night of the fight, Dana White comes to the press conference. He says a rematch between you and Adesanya is very appealing for him. And then on Saturday after the fights, he comes out and pretty much announces that Izzy's going to be moving up to 205 to fight Jan Blachowicz. And he says about you, his direct quote, "I'm going to have to sit down with Adesanya and convince him to fight why he needs to fight Whittaker." Whittaker comes out and says he doesn't want to fight him. The craziest shit I've ever heard. Yeah, there's no arguing with Izzy. I thought Whittaker deserved the shot, but Whittaker said he doesn't want it. I've watched every interview you've done, and I watched the post fight. And I know you never said you didn't want the fight. You just said, I'm not going to beg for it, and I'm not going to go out there and push for it. When you heard Dana's comments, what'd you make of those?
Yeah, I certainly think he took a little twist to what I said. I never said I don't want to fight Izzy. That's not something I said. And as you just said, like you've been across the interviews and whatnot. I did not say that. I'm looking to fight March, April next year. That's what I'm looking for. I would like to fight Izzy. If Izzy's moving up to fight Jan, then I'll move up and fight him there. If he gets to win, I I'm very I want that fight. I do want that fight. It's just we had to just work it into the timeline, which is that March, April next year sort of timeline. I have no control on what the UFC is going to do or what Izzy's going to do, but whether he's here at middleweight or at light heavyweight, I'll take the fight to him.
Did the UFC ever actually reach out to you and try to talk about a date of doing you and Izzy again, or were you thrown off guard by what Dana said?
Not once. Not once. They never reached out to me. Not once. I guess. Yeah, it was a bit of a twist because it wasn't so much of a twist of Izzy fighting Jan, because I can see that why they would want to do that, why Izzy would want to do that, why the UFC would want to do that. Like, I can see that happening. It's more the twist on like how he just took my words and either he misinterpreted it or twisted it a little bit. It's that what took me for a little bit of a ride. But like I said, my timeline stands. That is the fight that I earned. I think everybody understands that. Even Dana said that after the last fight. And yeah, I guess whether, like I said, whether he's at middleweight or at light heavyweight, I'm going to take the fight to him.
Because that was kind of the most perplexing part. Is, I mean, you were very clear about, you're not going to go out there and be like super outspoken about it, but your work in the cage has kind of spoken for itself, and I think a lot of people agreed with that. And we know Izzy likes to be active, but if this fight's happening and seems like February or March anyways, that doesn't seem like it was too far off from what your timeline was going to be regardless.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had to give my own opinion, I guess the UFC wanted that Jan fight with Izzy. That's the fight they wanted, and that's the direction they pushed it and went in. But like I said, I have no control over that. That's what they've done. I guess this is what we have to work with, and I'm just going to stay ready. I'm going to prepare for that timeline, and I'll fight him at middleweight or light heavyweight.
How do you think your body would feel fighting up at light heavyweight? We obviously know you were a welterweight at one point.
Yeah, I still would probably have to cut a little bit, but I think I could handle it. The height might get me, but I'm quick enough for sure.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see you there. So I guess, it is kind of interesting though, because all this talk is, if Izzy wins this fight against Jan, then he'll probably be fighting John Jones or, move to something like that. Do you worry at all that this rematch may not come across your path, or at least for, quite a while here?
It depends. It depends what the division's doing and how the UFC are going to approach the division. With Izzy moving up and what happens with that, it is hard to say. It's very unclear at the moment the direction that UFC is going to push the division and Izzy. Obviously, Izzy is going to fight Jan, and then I guess I'm just gonna wait to pounce on the winner, either the winner or the loser of that fight, because that's the fight I've earned with my work.
Yeah, and I imagine the stability, for the sake of the stability of the middleweight division, I guess Izzy losing would probably be the ideal situation. But in the meantime, is there anyone else out there that you would see as maybe a logical fight? I know Paulo Costa has been making a lot of noise about wanting to fight you, and they think 1 versus 2, that's kind of a logical matchup on his side, it seems.
Yeah, but is it like the only real logical rematch for the only logical fight for me right now is Izzy. I've held the spot as one twice now in the last like 4 or 5 months, and that's the fight he just lost his contention to the title. That's a fight for me. That's really the only fight that I am interested in at the moment. It's very hard for me to be interested in anything else.
Yeah, and I guess who knows if maybe an interim title came into play or something that might change how things go. But you talk about wanting that Izzy fight again. What do you think would be different about a rematch?
I'd certainly have to go into that fight with a different strategy and different game plan. I cannot go into the same fight with the same attitude and think I'll get a different result. So I've got a good team around me. I'm going to go into that fight with the knowledge of the last fight and how I've built up to now, as well as seeing his last few fights. He's going to be a hard fight. He's going to be a tough fight. I know this. And he's going to come in there very confident, very, very confident. He's a dangerous fight. But, I may have one or two tricks up my sleeve still.
Yeah, when you watch that first fight back, I know, Rob, you're like one of the most humble guys out there. You're not gonna, go off about excuses and everything. But when you watch that first fight back, does it make you kind of cringe in a way, being like, that's not a guy in there that was me or performing to the best of my abilities?
Yeah, I hate watching it. It was a terrible fight. It is what it is. It's one of those things. I could be on and still lose. It's one of those things. That's why this sport is so cutthroat. It's ruthless in a way. But I think I have the skill set to get across that line. And I want to take it to him. I want to run that back. I want to give it another shot. I'm going to try.
Do you think Izzy will beat Jan?
It's hard to say. I think, honestly, if I was a betting man, I would be wagering on Izzy. I think he has the height and the skill set to beat Jan. I think Izzy's a very dangerous guy, and I think he'll be better at light heavy.
Really interesting. How so?
He's just he's a big guy. People don't realize it. Don't give him enough credit. He's a big guy. And he's very tall. He has the height. He has the skill set. I think he can beat Jan. I really do.
Very interesting. So I guess just last thing kind of on this topic, you're not like upset or anything that Dana came out and said what he said. You just kind of maybe wish you were brought in the loop a little more and your words were kind of put in proper context there.
Yeah, it's not something I can be upset about because it is what it is. I'm more confused. I guess that would be the biggest emotion I have right now, like confused. I wish the open dialogue was there. I wish the communication was there because like I'm pretty easy to work with. I guess it is what it is though. Like what's been done has been done. My timeline stands. I'm going to look at fighting Izzy, whether it's at light heavyweight or middleweight early next year. We'll have to wait and see how the dice roll.
And that's the thing, we can appreciate you so much more. You are who you are, and you're not going to change how you act. But now, in hindsight, seeing what's happened, is there any part of you that regrets maybe not, whether it was at the press conference or interviews immediately after, bang the drum a little bit harder about the Izzy rematch?
My biggest point was just my timeline. I had to get my timeline out there. I was not going to fight until at least March, April next year, and that's for any fight. And that's that was my biggest goal and objective after last fight because I have a newborn baby due in January, so and Christmas, like that was very, very important for me. So getting my timeline out there was the objective and the goal, and I did that. And then, but with the twist on words a little bit, it was confusing. It was a little annoying, but it is what it is. You can't change anything now. All we can do is just be prepared and see how everything goes.
Definitely. Well, appreciate you kind of clearing things up there on your side. And before I let you go, last things I kind of wanted to ask you about: did you see Anderson Silva's fight with Uriah Hall, and if so, what did you make of it?
I did. I guess I think he's had a great career. Hats off to him and absolute respect for pioneering the career that he's had in, he's left his mark in the division forever, I guess. But he's not. Anderson Silva today isn't Anderson Silva back when he was tearing through the middleweight division when he was holding that belt for that amount of time. He's just not the same. He doesn't have the reflexes there. He doesn't have the same, I guess, young blood in him. And you can see that when he was fighting. You've seen, me personally, I've seen it for a while. I think a lot of people have. They've seen it for a while. He's not the same Anderson because age gets everybody. He's not a young Anderson anymore. And Uriah Hall is a physical specimen. Like he is. Like he has got it still. And it was always going to be a hard fight for him.
Yeah, and I think the thing there, you saw flashes of like the old Anderson, right? Like he won the first round. He was doing pretty well for himself, but you can imagine, that shot that dropped him late in the third and in the fourth, a younger version of him either probably would have gotten out of the way of that shot or been able to absorb it a lot better, right? So those are the kind of things you see in decline at that point.
That's exactly it. Like a young Anderson would have either dodged the shots or been able to take them. You can see for the last few years, every shot that Anderson takes hurts him. every single one. And when he was young, he would go in the same way. He would go in and throw crazy stuff and from every angle. And then, like when they would counter him or try to throw with him in that mix, he would be able to move out of the way or dodge it or actually take the shot. He took a lot of shots back in the day, and he wasn't phased. Whereas as he's gotten older, like they've started hurting him, and you can see that. And which is nothing off him. Like it's age, man. Like you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, when you see someone like that, I mean, do you look at that and say, like, I don't want that to be me in certain ways? Like, I don't imagine you're planning on fighting till 45 years old, but you said you've seen it for a few years, trying to kind of know what that right spot will be. I imagine that's kind of the most difficult thing in the career of a fighter.
Yeah, I think so, exactly. I have like a soft cap on when I want to leave and when I want to exit the game. But my body is gonna be the real deciding factor on whether or not I continue fighting or not. Like if my body is feeling good and I'm able to still do what I do and I'm not taking damage and I'm not getting severely knocked out repeatedly or whatever, like I'll keep fighting until my body says, nah, it's time to hang it up, you're done.
Definitely. Well, hopefully that's no time soon because you are on an absolute roll. 10 wins in your last 11 fights. It's just being sensational stuff from you, Rob. And, really hope that you can get this title fight sorted whenever it may happen. Hopefully you don't have to get in there again because I'm definitely interested to see what you can do in that rematch with Izzy.
Thank you so much. That's the plan. Let's see what happens. And yeah, that's like I said, though, that's the fight that interests me. It's the only fight that interests me. It's the fight that I've earned. And I guess we'll have to see when we can get it done.
Absolutely, Rob. Well, appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully you can get through these final few days of quarantine a little happy and maybe find some new games to play or something.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you so much.